Okay, at the risk of being redundant, I'm going to play part of the same video y'all already saw, but I'm going to play it without the editing. There was a lot of editing with the ants, harvesting the honeydew off the aphids. But what I want you to mainly pay attention to is the system. The ants have taken the aphids down into a system. And once the aphids are in that system, they are no longer, even cognizant that there's a whole nother world. They become so inert, so dependent on the system that the outside world becomes not even a reality to them anymore. And that's the point I really want to make. Of control. And the biggest fight is just to recognize that you're in a system of control. Okay, I'm going to pause it right there. I know that I've accomplished my goal. And now I'm going to pause it right there. I want to show you something because this is what I want you to understand the most. So the system is a bunch of aphids were carried away captive. Okay, they were carried away captives and they were brought into a new place. And they were put down here in this room. And after 20 generations of aphids are born, here's the question. How would you know that you are a slave? Let's say you were born 20 generations later. How would you know you're a slave? The answer is there's absolutely no way you would ever know you're a slave. It's impossible because all you've ever known is what you've seen and what you've heard. And when you were born, your eyes were open and whatever's in the ant mound is all you know. And I'm going to show you a whole nother world. I'm going to show you the world that's outside the mound. And I wanted to make sure that was very clear. So I'm clarifying the previous video just by doing a little addendum to it and making sure that you understand that the system is that they were carried away captive. They were put someplace and they were being governed. By the way, the word government means mind control. They're being governed by a system of ants that's really running the show. And they have no clue. And the aphids have become so inert, so dependent on the system that they would never believe an aphid that said, hey, you're not supposed to be here, unless they got set free of it. Then they would be like, oh my God, they'd try and tell every aphid, wouldn't they? Of course you would. Okay, so here you go. There they go. Okay. So here's a marauding group of ants, and they're all on a mission. They've left the ant mound, and they're all on their way to catch aphids. Okay, so they've left the ant mound now, and they've gone outside the ant mound, and they've caught a bunch of aphids, and they brought the aphids back into the ant mound. They put the aphids in this big room that they've already prepared for them because they know this is how we're going to get our food. And so they put the aphids in there, and they also cut down plants and bring in plants that the aphids live on, and they put them in the room with the aphids. So let me show you why they do that. Okay, so here we go. So here's an ant, and he is going to eat a secretion off the back of this aphid. Watch. So he's going to stimulate the aphid, and the aphid's going to produce a honey. It's called honeydew. There we go, right there. You see that little bubble right there? That's what the ants are after. So what they did is they caught a bunch of aphids. They took them down into the ant mound. They set up a room in there. They give all the aphids all the plants that they want. And then the aphids produce honeydew, and the ants love it. And they use it as a source of energy. Let's watch. See, there you go. And then the ant just ingests that. By the way, the ants, when they take it in, they can feed it to other ants. As they see other ants, they can actually, regurgitate it into the mouth of another ant. So let's see. There we go. See another one right there. Okay, so that's the system now. So there you go again. So you see the ant. So now we have a system that has been set up where the ants left the ant mound. They caught the aphids. They brought them. They put them in the room. And the aphids are all set up. And the aphids are protected by the ants. Now, the ants go and they bring them their flora of choice. And the aphids live on it. And the ants harvest the honeydew. They groom the aphids. They take care of the aphids. So let me ask you this question. If your great grandmother and grandfather were the first group of aphids to be brought down into the ant nest, and they were the first ones, and 20, 30 generations later, you were born, and you were born into that system, how would you know you're a slave? How would you know you're a slave? So the only way at all, in any way, shape, or form, that you would know you're a slave is if you were able to get outside the ant mound and say, wait a minute, there's something totally different going on here. What if you were in this room that everybody's been in for 20 generations, and another aphid came into the ant mound, walked down through the tunnels, and said, hey guys, you're not supposed to be here. You don't even belong here. You're trapped in a prison and you don't even know it. What do you think all the aphids would do? What do you think all the aphids that were, being taken care of? Hey, just loving it. Everything's great. Ants protect them. They got all the food. Making baby aphids, doing whatever they want. Everything's great. They got no natural predators, no ladybugs trying to eat them, none of that stuff. They got the ants protecting them. They got the ants cleaning them. They got the ants providing their flora of choice, and the ants are harvesting the honeydew off their back. But the aphids are slaves, and they don't even know it. And let me tell you something. The answer to the question is, how would you know you're a slave? You wouldn't. That's where I come in. That's why the Lord God gave me the gift he gave me. Because Jesus came into the system. He came into the system and he died within the system. He broke down the gates of hell that kept everybody in the system, and he ascended back out of the system to heaven. And then his spirit is able to wake up those that are trapped in the system. And I'm going to use this entire series to show you how the Lord God gave me the scriptures as well as a spiritual gift to prove to you that you're just like the aphid. You've been trapped in a system of control, and the biggest fight is just to recognize that you're in a system of control. Once you recognize it, once you know you're a slave, then you can be set free of it. But if you don't even know you're a slave, people have this nebulous idea of who Jesus is, Yeshua. I can show you who Jesus is. I can point you to who he is. I can show you the scriptures, but you have to open the door yourself. I can show you what door to knock on, but you have to open the door yourself. So that's what this is going to be, a series of videos. They're going to be very short, very bullet point. Probably no video will be longer than 15 minutes. I'm going to try and keep them between 10 to 15 minutes. They're going to be numbered. Every video is going to have a number, like number 1, Number one will be Isaiah 29, 15, and 16. That's where this began, the way the Lord showed me to see the system. Here's the other thing. When you're in the system, when you're inside the system, when you're in it, you cannot tell that you're part of it because you're in it. You have to be set free of it in order to even recognize that you were in it. Do you understand? No aphid within this mound is ever going to know he was in a prison unless he gets set free. And once, let's say he got out the ant mound and the other aphid that came in and said, hey, just follow me. And he followed him and he went out. And he's like, my God, there's this whole world out there. And oh my gosh, there's plants and there's this other world. Then he could see that he used to be a slave in the ant mound, couldn't he? That's what I'm going to show you guys. This is the way the Lord explained it to me. This is the way he told me to explain it to you. And this is the way I'm going to do the very best I can. I know that the end has come, and I'm going to use my time to put together this information and the show note links. And I am encouraging everybody. We're going to show you how to do it. To get one of these. Get one of these, whatever. Get yourself a 64, 128 gig jump drive. Put all this information on it and put it around your neck because it's the most valuable information on the planet. And then we're going to start matching all this up for you so you can see where you're really at. All right. This begins the series. All right. All right, guys. God bless. Don't be an aphid that doesn't wake up, because the end of that aphid is eternal suffering.